Like Obi-Wan Kenobi sensing the destruction of Alderaan, there's been a disturbance in the Force. Some are calling it the upcoming Fandomgeddon, the fandompocalypse, you could say. Folks, my dear viewers, Homestuck is getting animated.
What the f***? Was that Carcat?
I was just supposed to be editing today, but no, I gotta talk about Homestuck, rising from the Lazarus pit. It's being animated by Spindleroo, which is an offshoot of the animation studio Spindle Horse, which was created by VibsyPop, who's the creator of Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel, and will be serving as the executive producer for animated Homestuck. The pilot, which will be hosted on our YouTube channel, is coming out this September, and who better to voice the protagonist, John Egbert, than Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale and Deltarune.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
As for the rest of the core four, Cherami Leigh is playing Rose, she voices Lucy in Fairy Tail. Colleen O'Shaughnessy is playing Jade, she voices Tails in pretty much every English iteration of Sonic out there. And Adam MacArthur is Dave Strider, he voices both Itadori Yuji in the JJK English dub, and Marco Diaz from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. If this is the first time you're hearing about all of this and it's coming from me, surprise! But there's a little more I gotta mention. This has been a time for the Homestuck fandom. So August 8th, 8/8, was Vriska Day, a celebration of the character Vriska, who's already kind of polarizing in the fandom. But for everybody who does love her, she got plenty of fantastic fan art over the weekend, and people were having a good time. But on the same day, there was some unfortunate news involving the unofficial Homestuck collection. I'm sure the majority of you here are at least familiar with Homestuck. Maybe you're one of the original readers who's been around since the very beginning. Maybe you joined at the tail end of the Tumblr era. Maybe you just heard about it on TikTok somewhere. Just as a quick refresher, Homestuck was an interactive webcomic that was very long and very complex to read, but it was quite an experience. It was a cultural landmark, you could say, but with the end of Adobe Flash Player in 2020, which Homestuck relied on for its animations, the webcomic fell into disrepair, it was broken, not properly maintained, and you couldn't read Homestuck on the official Homestuck website anymore, homestuck.com. The unofficial Homestuck collection was developed by a couple of fans who wanted to present Homestuck as it was originally released. With Flash being phased out at the end of 2020, Homestuck is in a precarious state. While there have been official attempts to preserve aspects of the original experience by Viz Media, who have published Homestuck since 2018, the results have been mixed, with extra content scattered around the web in various states of decay. A solution was needed to preserve Homestuck's one-of-a-kind presentation and flair, for both returning readers and those new to the story. They basically glued Homestuck back together without Adobe Flash Player, they added in some extra bells and whistles to really enhance the experience and flesh it out more, and it basically became the most reliable way to read Homestuck online as it was originally intended. Andrew Hussey, the creator of Homestuck, supported it, referenced it, it was cool, but on August 8th, Vriska Day, the unofficial Homestuck collection was no longer available on its co-creator's website, where it's always been hosted. You go there and it just looks like this. But if you just Google the unofficial Homestuck collection, you'll see that it takes you to this page. Originally developed by Bambosh and Giovanni, the unofficial Homestuck collection is a fan-created browser for reading Homestuck and other works by Andrew Hussey as they were originally intended to be experienced with native Flash support. A new official Homestuck collection is now in development, and the original unofficial Homestuck collection will continue to be preserved and available here. I want to make it very clear that Homestuck has not become lost media. It hasn't been wiped clean from the internet. You don't have to go into the dark web to find it. It's still available on GitHub if you want to download it yourself. Just make sure you have the asset pack as well. If that's too much work, there's plenty of links and other backups floating around. It's just not as readily available or as easily accessible as it was before. Now, will it continue to be available on GitHub and other places? I don't know. It says it'll be continued to be preserved and available here, so I assume so? But things can change. Again, I don't know. I'm not gonna go in depth with this whole unofficial Homestuck collection debacle. I'm here to talk about fandom stuff, so there's a lot going on. I don't know the full story, the full context, what's real, what's hearsay, and I don't want to spread misinformation, so if you want to offer your 2 cents, your perspective, and talk about what's going on, then feel free to do so in the comments. But yeah, with it all blowing up on social media, it's pretty messy. This is being referred to by the Homestuck fandom as part 1 of a double 9/11. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, came a day later on August 9th, and that was the release of the animated Homestuck pilot trailer at Animate Orlando 2025. And did I mention that there's already official merch? Lots and lots of Hell of a Homestuck merchandise. All of this happened in the span of 2 days. Some people were thinking that the timing with everything going on with the unofficial Homestuck collection and the animated pilot dropping, it was so close together, it was weird, was it planned? Others were saying no, it couldn't have been planned, it's just coincidence, or you're looking too far into it. Again, I don't know. Honestly, everything from the past few days, everything I've learned, everything I've seen has kind of fried my brain a bit. With animated Homestuck, we are getting a 3-way fandom collision, a fandom trifecta. Homestuck fans, HELLAVERSE fans, and Undertale and Deltarune fans. All we need is Steven Universe thrown into the mix. Gooseworks, are you gonna join the party too? Wait, the Sonic fandom is also involved in this through Colleen. She voices Jazz Fenton and Danny Phantom too. This is deadass Infinity War. And dare I say that this trifecta has been around for a while. Like, it feels like different generations of the same core, you know? Homestuck and Undertale had a lot of overlap in the mid to late 2010s. Many Homestuck fans became Undertale fans, and sometimes the opposite happened as well. I mean, if you forgot, Toby Fox worked on the discography for Homestuck. There's the whole joke that Toby Fox worked on Undertale in Andrew Hussey's basement. They've been friends for years, and then later on, many Undertale fans became fans of Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, kind of like a stepping stool situation. Hell, quite a few Homestuck fans became HELLAVERSE fans, either as a natural progression or because it reminded them of their Homestuck days. I actually filmed a video over a year ago that I never got around to editing, and it was addressing a question that kept popping up at the time, which was, are HELLAVERSE fans the new Homestuck fans? I'll drop it on my Patreon at some point. Dude, the body paint for conventions is gonna go crazy for the next few years. The general feeling of the Homestuck fandom right now is pretty much just, what? Some fans are very optimistic and excited, others are very pessimistic and hate everything. Many Homestuck fans are like, oh, great, another generation of people who never read the comics. We now have the concept of comic-only or animation-only Homestucks. And many HELLAVERSE fans were actually not super jazzed about the new Homestuck adaptation. They wanted more HELLAVERSE content, more Has-Been Hotel, more Hell of a Boss. Not this piece of media that they didn't grow up with or have much interest in because of that generational gap. And everyone who isn't involved in the Homestuck or HELLAVERSE or Undertale Deltarune fandoms are kind of just bringing out the popcorn like, now this is entertainment! You can't reboot Homestuck in any meaningful way because it's media you can only really experience via reading it on a laptop during study hall at aged 14 in 2011! Low-key Homestuck pilot written by Andrew Hussey, produced by Vizzy Pop with Toby Fox as John Egbert, is kind of like the matcha Dubai chocolate Labubu of Tumblr. Yeah, I actually was never a Homestuck girly, shocking for some of you, I'm sure. My big fandom at the time was Italia, which I could make a whole video about, honestly. My experience with the Homestuck fandom was that I feel like I was a satellite orbiting around it. I was on Tumblr a lot at the time, and you couldn't be in fandom Tumblr without seeing Homestuck. I actually wanted to start Homestuck for the first time last year, and maybe even livestream myself reading it, but that never happened. My bad. Again, I've absorbed the gist of Homestuck through osmosis from friends and online, so I know vaguely what happens, things about the characters and the trolls and whatnot. The Scratch, we're living the Scratch right now. I feel like that cat from Adventure Time where he's like, I have approximate knowledge of many things. That's how I am with Homestuck. There's a whole guide here about Homestuck as well as a blurb about its appeal. The appeal in Homestuck is that it transcends webcomics as a traditional medium and fully takes advantage of its digital presentation. It's presented as drawings accompanied with expository text, chat logs, flash games, and animations, but the whole soundtrack complementing them all. And I have seen some worry with fans being like, okay, but how well is that going to translate to an animated show, though? The biggest concern I've seen expressed, though, both from folks inside these fan bases spaces and outside of them is the potentially nuclear levels of discourse that throwing these fandoms all together will generate. Because again, I'm sure many of you are at least familiar with some of the stories that have gone down in them, the environment, the drama. They're very, very iconic and infamous fandoms in the fandom sphere. I do want to reiterate that no fandom is perfect and there will always be a toxic side in whatever fandom you find out there, but these three, for various reasons, are sort of internet folklore. Like, everybody knows someone who was involved in something that happened in one of them. Did it actually happen? Was it exaggerated? Was it made up? Who knows at this point? I am curious to see how Homestuck in the year of our Lord 2025 mixes with today's current fandom climate and culture. Helliverse fans and Homestuck fans have already been going after each other, chomping at the bit, raring to go, accusing the other side of being more cringe, and I guess there's been a bunch of Homestuck fans bashing Helliverse fans, acting high and mighty over them, which, There's already been some friction between younger Helliverse fans that are like, oh, ew, I have to deal with 30-plus-year-old Homestuck hags now, versus older Homestuck fans that are like,
Minors!
Yeah, the infighting so far hasn't been very pretty. This feels like families being brought together through either an arranged marriage or like a step-parent situation, and no one's really happy about it. There's already been a lot of fanware crossovers between Homestuck, Helliverse, and Undertale/Deltarune. HELLAVEStucktale. I like the sound of that, honestly. Over a year ago, this artist homestucked several popular Tumblr sexy men, and I'm not saying you brought this upon us, but my general feeling towards all of this is like akin to gazing at the eye of an eldritch being. I can't look away. I want to know what happens next, but I don't know if I'll survive it. I just really want to know what you guys are thinking. Where do you lie in all of this? Are you super stoked? Are you crying, throwing up? Cautiously happy? Waiting for the train wreck? Again, I genuinely do not know what to feel. But to be fair and completely transparent, I don't have a whole lot of personal attachment here. Like, again, I know a lot of stuff peripherally, and I'm still kind of just like, whoa, this is happening. But I want to give all the Homestuck, Undertale, Deltarune, and Helliverse fans the space and the stage to express your feelings here. Because ready or not, a new age has begun. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sorry if this video is a bit rambly. It was not planned. If you'd like to see more fandom, fanfiction, and fan culture-esque videos from yours truly, then feel free to subscribe. Thank you all again so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
안녕.